Well, today, finally a show where I'm going to get some help. You're probably wondering, what does that mean?
I'm wondering, what does that mean?
Okay,
what do you mean, help?
Because today we have a really special guest on. His name is Wayne Levine, and Wayne has an organization called BetterMen, which we need better men.
Not like David Letterman.
We need
this is
better men. But he's a life coach, an author, and a mentor.
Wow.
And so I secretly booked him on the show so he'd give you some tips.
Yeah, when I hear better men, I mean, do I go, is it like a place I can go to be a better man? Is that what I can do?
Well, it's a place you can go to do the work to become a better man.
There you go.
Sure. Okay, now what is, just for the audience and for me and I guess for us, what is Better Men? What is that?
Well, in Agora Hills, California, I have a men's center. It's called BetterMen. It's where I do individual and group work. I work with couples, and I'm teaching the skills and the tools that men need to be more successful in their relationships, to be better fathers and husbands. And we do a lot of work with kids too, a lot of the sons of the men. So it's really about helping men of all ages learn what they need to do to be successful in their lives.
Pretty nice. Now
who comes to you though? I mean, is it the wife saying, please,
is the wife dragging her husband in saying,
I got to get my husband in there? Or is it a man volunteering himself? Hey, I need help.
Yes. I can't tell you how many phone calls I get from women frustrated because they know their men need something, but the men are so reluctant to ask for it. And they call and say, how can I get my man in to do some work with you? So it happens that way, but then there are also those men who feel this longing, and they feel this need to connect with sort of other men and masculinity. They may not know exactly what that means, but it draws them to the work as well.
Now, what made you start this organization? How did you come about? Like, what was the inspiration to start this whole thing?
Well, I was introduced to men's work in the early 90s. A friend of mine said, why don't you come to this open house we're having, this men's organization? I didn't really know anything about it, but I went. And what I saw there just sort of stunned me. What I heard, these men were talking in a way with each other that I had just never heard before. They were playing and they were serious and they were goofing around.
Just being able to be open with each other.
Right. And I thought, I don't know what this is, but I want some more of it. And so I signed up to do a retreat, and that's really how this began. And years later, I was getting tired of my business, what I was doing, and I thought, I wondered if I could do this full time and help men, because I really felt an affinity for the work, and I had gotten so much out of it. So
that's fulfilling a dream, though. I mean, to go from, what was your business before?
Production, actually.
Oh, okay.
Like
TV production.
TV production.
Got it.
And it's finding my passion, and I'm very fortunate, and it's a lot of what we do with the men is to help them find what they're passionate about, because a lot of us just don't do the work to sort of get through the day-to-day trials and tribs.
I think it's sort of like that with anything. I mean, you have to want to become something new in the first place in order to go into an organization like this, or in order to take that new path in life. Because, I mean, a lot of times people, I guess, you say they don't know what they want to do, but they're kind of afraid to go out and try and achieve it. Like, do you give people, like, the tools to inspire them and to say, you can go for this, you can go for that?
Absolutely. Well, fear is a big issue, right? Fear keeps us stuck, and a lot of men are very much stuck in their own stuff. And a lot of it begins when you're very young, and we touch upon sort of the origins of where these come from, but most importantly, it's what are you going to do about it? So we're about being in action, making commitments, holding each other accountable, and each man finds his own way on his path, but together we validate, we help each other to get through the fear and doubt so that we can actually take some action and make some progress.
See, in Braveheart, they didn't do that. They just chopped people up with swords. Like, the guys would go out and kill other men with swords. So
and when you mention Braveheart, I just see scenes flashing before me.
But you know what? They were hot. That's all I can say. They were hot.
These guys,
And when men become the men they want to be, they're hotter, too.
Exactly.
Yeah, right, see?
But you know what, though? When you were talking about, in the beginning, what you were saying about people getting into this maybe a mundane lifestyle and just wanting something different. Maybe it's not even something horrific that happened in their past. It could be just that they want to change their career. They just want to change a lot about themselves. But I think what happens too is, don't you think that people get maybe in a marriage too soon, and now they're married and now they've got kids, now they've got to get into a job maybe they don't like, and then life becomes really boring and they don't like their whole existence.
Their wife puts them on a talk show and makes them host
Their wife makes them do a talk show,
It's an epidemic, this talk show.
Yeah.
What a horrible thing.
It's called talk show-itis, where your wife makes you get on a talk show and host it.
Just be glad it's not a reality show.
So she points your finger at me? Wayne, what can I do about the finger pointing, Wayne?
This is going to take a lot of hours, but we can work through it.
All right.
So you describe this sort of journey that men go on. It begins when men are boys. Boys learn sort of how to handle themselves with girls in high school. They make choices then that are not necessarily the best ones for them, and they don't have the fathering to necessarily point out what they're doing right and what they're doing wrong. And they have habits, and they go to college, and then they get out of college, and they get married, and they have these same habits. And then they get married, and years later they realize that they have sold out their friendships. They're not doing the things that are important to them. They blame their wives for these changes that have happened for them, but it's not their wives' fault. It's that they didn't know what they were doing. And now they're disconnected from men in their lives. They don't have any of that support around them, and they're lost. And really,
don't you feel horribly bad for these men?
I feel so bad for you. I feel so bad for you, and all the guys that threw me under the bus all those years.
She's such a very timid, young, delicate, fragile thing, as you can tell. What does Connect the Men?
Well, we are beginning a new nonprofit foundation, and the idea is to take what we've been doing locally to a national level. And we're going to be advocating for men. And in about a year or so, we're working on the timeline. We're going to hit the road and go to all 50 states and create events and create awareness so that we can connect men to each other, to themselves, to their wives, to the resources that are available in the community, and some of our own original programs.
That's huge.
Men are the largest sort of untapped market in terms of the needs they have. If you look at statistics around depression and suicide and divorce and substance abuse and domestic violence, the numbers are tragic. And if we help the men, then we can start helping everyone else, because everyone else is affected by men acting out. And they're acting out because they're not getting what they need. And we just haven't been talking about it. And there's a lot of anger towards men, and a lot of shame in men. And all these things sort of keep us from just helping.
Right.
Men need help like everybody else needs help.
I know, but when we did a pre-interview, we talked yesterday on the phone, and I think that the whole women's rights movement kind of messed up men.
Well, there are definitely some unexpected consequences, unintended consequences of all that. Some good things happened. There needed to be balance, right? But the pendulum has swung too far. And because of that,
society's become very feminized. It really has.
And men have become very feminized, which essentially is...
Except for us.
Except the two of us.
Except the two of us.
Well, of course, that's the other problem with men, is that no one wants to admit that they need help. But let me tell you something. I've needed as much help as any man who's come to see me.
Yeah.
And it's really true. And that's why I'm so attached to the work, because I needed the work. I'm just a regular guy. Things happen in my life, and I had to clean it up and fix it and work through it. So, this is there's a lot of work that has to be done, and it's not about being angry at anyone, because we're not going to get anywhere. It's not about blame, but certainly things have happened in our culture in the last couple of generations that we just need to shift, and that's what we're going to try to do.
I think you're right, though, about the blaming, is that we always want to blame somebody for where our life has turned up today, because of my mother, because of my father. Yes. But another thing I want to say about, I know for me, and I'm just being honest, is that women, we want to wear the pants in the house most of the time, and so basically we tell them what to do, how to do it, when to do it, and then when we have a weak moment, we say,
sit over here with Wayne on the couch.
Yeah. But really, when we have a weak moment, we're like, "What's wrong with you? Why can't you do this? Why can't you be?"
You know why we can't? Because you've been trying to wear the pants in the house.
Well, that's it. I'm saying we strip them all of their masculinity, and then we're wanting them to be this Rock of Gibraltar.
Right. There are lots of ways to be.
Now he's back on my side.
There are lots of ways to be a better man. There's not one model of a better man. And there are women who have more masculine energy and women who have less. But women are women and men are men. And we really honor the differences. Because even when a woman is strong and working, she's still a woman. And inside, she's still a little girl. And it's a conversation we have oftentimes that men, first of all, they're afraid of their wives because they have issues that are unresolved with their mothers, et cetera, et cetera. And if they solve that relationship, if they fix that problem, then they have a better relationship with all women. But women are women, and when they hit a bad spot, when they hit a bad spot, we have to take care of the little girl. And that's part of our job. It's one of the tools in
Let me see. I was just going to get to this. This is Wayne's book. He wrote a book. It's called "Hold On to Your Nuts." Now, are you a squirrel lover, Wayne? Is that the deal? You like the outdoors? Is that what this is?
That is a great
A squirrel honors his nuts, and so do we. Now, nuts stands for non-negotiable, unalterable terms. So it's really just about what a man is committed to, what defines a man, his boundaries, right? It's really, look, much of what's in the book applies to women as well, but this book has a language that's written just for men, because when a man talks to another man, it lands differently than when a woman does. I mean, the best intended, most loving women cannot get certain messages across to their man.
Right.
And women know that. But when they sit with other men, when they're ready to do that, it sinks in and they can hear it differently. So that's why fathering is so important. That's why fathering is such a big part of what we do. That's what men need of all ages.
And women do have their own language, because we'll play games, and if she teams up with another woman, if let's say the game is Password, she can say pink, Rock of Gibraltar, bam, I got it. Women can just do that. I don't know how they do that.
And advice, don't try to figure it out.
Yeah, and that's what he does.
Tried to
Like, you know what, we play Pictionary, and so I draw like a circle and a line, and it's, I don't know, a dinosaur.
And her friend gets it.
My mom gets it, or my daughter gets it, and he's like, how did you get that?
Well, it's cheating.
It is cheating.
Like
it's unfair. Isn't
well,
that unfair?
Life is unfair, but we can't be victims about things
I'm
like
going to hold on
Pictionary.
to my book, which tells me to hold on to my nuts, which are non-negotiable, unalterable terms.
Well, that's sunk in pretty quickly.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, he's really good at that.
Very good.
Yeah.
So I'm just
That's why he never forgets anything I say.
we're going to have a long talk later.
I know,
about all of
I
this,
know.
believe me. Hey, now, we are, let me see what else we have. The solution, if you can give men one piece of advice right now, sitting on this couch, if they're watching this for the first time, what is one thing you could tell them right now, maybe to inspire them or to maybe get them through the next day?
Quickly, if you looked at mainstream media, you would come to the conclusion that the biggest problem that men have is depression, and that the solution is pharmaceuticals.
Yeah.
That's sort of what we know. Well, depression is just a symptom, just like all the other rotten things that men do that I mentioned earlier. I believe it's very simple, and it has to be simple for men. I believe that the solution to all of these problems is for men to have trusting relationships with other men. If you have men to go to and you're actually talking to them before you do something stupid, you're less likely to do something stupid. Men aren't stupid. They just do stupid things, and they do that because they're isolated, they don't have any support, they don't trust other men, they don't feel good about themselves, they're full of shame. All these things keep them from just saying, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. For instance, I'll give you, imagine if Bill Clinton had been in a men's group.
Right.
Just imagine.
Yeah.
Right.
And he wasn't sold out because he was a leader of the free world. And he said, listen, there's this intern. And if they had said, are you out of your mind? Imagine the change, the difference in the country if that had not happened.
Yeah.
And those are the kinds of things that are discussed in men's groups. And guys come and say, I hate my wife, I want to do this, I want to do that. And we talk and settle guys down and start to find out what the truth is, what's really going on with him, how he really feels about his kids, what he really wants to do in this situation. And oftentimes, usually, they don't do what their first impulse is.
Very cool. Now, where can people buy the book?
My website, BetterMen.org, is the best place. I sign the books that are ordered.
Oh, that's nice.
Through there, but you can get it at Amazon as well.
Very cool.
And at BetterMen.org, you can also learn about the coaching that I do both in town and on the phone, because a lot of men are not in the area, so we have individual work and groups on the phone as well.
Cool. Yeah. We're going to close out with our foundation scripture, which I believe today is Ephesians 5:22. You're going to love this one, Julianne.
5:25. Yeah, and you're going to love the 25.
Through 25. 5:22. Wives, submit to your own husbands as to the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife, as also Christ is head of the church, and he's the Savior of the body. Here's her favorite part. Therefore, just as the church is subject to Christ, so let wives be to their own husbands as in everything. Actually, here's your favorite part. Husbands, love your wives just as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for her. So there is a balance, absolutely. That's what we've been talking about this entire time. So we want to thank you. Wayne, thanks for coming in today.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you.
Great to meet you, and I'm looking forward to reading the book. I really want to read this and learn more about squirrels, too. So I'm excited about that. And so from our heart to yours, this is Julianne and Butch saying thanks very much.
Thank you for joining us.
See you later.